Yes, Merboy, also known as Ronno, or when he becomes an adult, Mano. The long story short on this one is that he is a Silver Age love interest for Diana, largely when she is a child/teenager as Wonder Girl. The longer story here is that he is the bane of my existence and probably the most annoying Wonder Woman love interest. The year is 1959. Comics Code Authority is in full swing, Wortham's Seduction of the Innocent has been published, and mermaids are hot. Not 2 months previously, in May, Laurie Lemanis, aka the Silver Age mermaid love interest for Clark Kent, has been introduced. Robert Kanaya has full control of Diana at this point. He's already made certain we know that two male gods, Hermes and Hercules, were directly responsible for the powers that Diana had. He'd also changed things around to ensure that the story with Hercules taking the girdle of Hippolyta was not included. But how do you enforce heteronormativity on an island of all women? It's quite simple really, you put their love interest in the sea. He shows up in Wonder Woman 107 and right from the beginning he is down bad for Diana. I actually don't have a problem with that bit, obviously Diana is canonically bi, and I actually find it really endearing when her male love interests are down bad for her. Like, there's nothing wrong with a healthy dynamic where they're both super into one another. Here's the thing, whilst it is presented that Diana is into him in a teenage girl sort of, oh no, I'm not into you, you're distracting me, but tee-hee, Merboy just essentially functions as a duke in distress, but unlike Steve, tends to make it worse on himself by putting himself in situations that he can't get out of just to prove to Diana that he's good enough for her. As you can see in that remastered image I posted, which I pulled directly from DCUI Ultra, he does tend to have that sort of gingery blonde hair in his earlier appearances and in any of the remastered work, hence the joke about him being Trinity's father. However, in his adult appearances and in a lot of the original comics that I've had the luck to see, it has been more of a yellow blonde, so I'm not quite certain what happened there. He rarely shows up as an adult, but when he does, it is largely because he has missed Diana so badly and cried so much about it that she has come back to see him, and he just tends to pick a fight with Steve, trying to prove that he is superior. That interaction between him and Steve, which comes from Wonder Woman 125, is more or less par for the course when the two of them interact or when he shows up as an adult. He just doesn't really tend to listen to Diana when she makes requests of him, something which Steve also picks up in Kanaya's Wonder Woman run, which is an aggressive contrast from what Marston had. Overall, Silver Age Wonder Woman has a feel a lot more similar to a young girls magazine, something like, for my British folks who are old enough, Bunty. I don't know if they were pulling from the popularity of the Betty Veronica situation from Archie Comics here, but it doesn't really have any of that charm, in large part because Merman's sole purpose, Ronno, Mano, whatever you want to call him, his sole purpose is to remind us that Diana has been interested in men for a long time and that men have always been interested in her. That is more or less the only narrative purpose he serves. Luckily, nobody particularly really seemed to care for him apart from Robert Kanaya. He hasn't made any appearances since pre-crisis, and only one person outside of Kanaya even bothered writing him. Overall, he represents something of Diana's writing at the time that I am not personally fond of. The Wonder Woman story I showed earlier, 125, does result with Wonder Woman actually saying, no, I don't want either of you because this man who's just shown up and he's very hot. I mean, this guy doesn't even do anything other than appear and be attractive. It turns out that he's actually an amoeba, but yeah, that's Silver Age for you. Ultimately, I wouldn't mind him showing up again if he was given characterization other than dude who is down bad for Diana and is really annoying and always needs to be saved. So yeah, Merboy, Diana's most annoying love interest.